Hey everybody, it's Sandy again from Ryerson Rescue Ranch. So today I want to talk to you about a absolutely horrible mistake I just made regarding these two, the female betas, Angel and Delilah. So I'm going to tell you what I did in the hopes that you won't do it. It was a total bonehead move. I should have known better, but by the grace of God, these two were spared. So, this is what happened. So, as you guys know, I use the Marineland Canister 220 filter on my three big tanks. So, what that is, for those of you who don't know, so this is the canister filter. Inside the canister filter, there's a set of 4 trays consisting of different types of filtration, and they stack inside, literally in these little trays that go inside the canister filter. So I probably once a month I do these tanks because I'm still trying to work on my snail situation. Yeah, I know, I'll be doing that until the day I take my last breath. However, I guess about 2 weeks ago, I had done, the once a month cleaning, changing out the media and whatnot. And then I also clean the glass. I vacuum the gravel, the whole 9 yards on all the tanks. I do that once a month. So I also take apart these, the intake and the outtake. So I know it's cloudy because I was just stirring everything up. Hello, Angel. I'm happy to see you both. So that is the intake. So what I did, the stupid bonehead move, I put the filter back together again and filled up the water, treated it with my Prime. I also treat, in addition to Prime, Stress Coat. Everything was good to go. The last thing I did after I turned the filter back on, because you always shut it off when you're cleaning, I took the bottom part of that intake valve off, went into the kitchen sink to clean it out, because you always rinse everything off with the water from the tank. You never use tap water. And that's where my bucket of water had been. So, I don't know, a minute and a half. They're so beautiful. Anyway, I come back, I put it back on. Great, done. And then I move on to the next tank. I mean, I have 5 tanks, so it's just very robotic and it's a process. Well, I have been looking for Angel and Delilah. I mean, this goes back to what I always say. Know your fish. Know how many fish you have. Check for babies, additions. Always pay attention to your tanks, right? I say that pretty much in every video, right? I can't find Angel and Delilah. And I've been looking and looking. And I'm thinking, well, maybe they're in this thing. And I don't like to disturb it too much because the plecos and the Cory cats like to hide in there. And if you move that, they totally freak out. So I'm like, well, I'm sure they're fine. They're in there. They're hiding, whatever. So today, I'm like, I was talking to Mike, and we still have this snail thing, and it seemed like it had been getting worse. So Mike said to me, well, why can't we just empty the canister filter more frequently than once a month? No, I guess we can. I'm not going to change the media, because obviously you don't want to start the tank cycling over again, but I don't know, good idea. I'll go ahead and I'll do that now. I'm still freaked by it. I take the canister, shut the filter off, take the canister into the bathtub, because I'm going to just dump the water. That's all I'm going to do, right? And I'm going to try to get the snails out. I had done this tank. I did this tank first with no problem whatsoever. I'm like, great. Moving along, I'm like, fantastic. I'll just go ahead and I'll do this one. Nope. Take it out, put it in the bathtub, take the top off. What do I find in the first tray but Angel and Delilah? Angel and Delilah were in the first tray of the canister filter. Yeah. So, one thing you should know about betas, if you don't already know, they're not shy. I mean, these two, especially Angel, she is such a nosy body. Anytime I'm in there, I have my hand in there. She's like, hey, what's going on? You got food for me? They must have, in that minute and a half that I had taken that off to clean it, because, like a dum dum, I had turned the filter back on, they got sucked up in it. They got sucked up in it. Not one, but two. Both of them got sucked up in there. I didn't realize it, put it back on. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that I decided to go ahead, well, actually, thanks to my husband, to go ahead and just, do a little de-snailing, as we commonly refer to it now at the ranch. Oh my gosh, right? Now, I know betas, they say they come from, mud puddles and that, I don't know. That must have been true, because the two of them were fine. Angel went ballistic. She was swimming in the bubbles and she was doing zoomies. Fed them both right away. They both ate. Delilah seems to be a little bit more subdued. She's pretty tired, so she's been swimming and eating. I mean, I think they're both going to be fine. How terrifying. A simple, just, cleaning the filters, because the snails live in the filters. This whole snail thing, that's a whole separate issue. I guess I'm just going to always have it, but I'm trying to stay on top of it. And from what I heard, the way you stay on top of it is to keep things clean, because snails live in dirt. So once a week, I'm vacuuming the substrate, I'm cleaning these things, all their decor, trying my best to stay on top of it. Last time when I had done the whole canister filter, changing the media, that's when I discovered that the snails were actually living in the filter media. Because here's another bonehead thing I did. Learn from my mistakes, people. So when you get a new filter, and because I had already had fish in here, typically when you're setting up a new tank, you're going to let the new filter and the water, you're going to let it cycle, which means you're going to let it establish good bacteria before putting any fish in it. However, because I had already had the tank and I was just simply adding a new filter, I had to jumpstart that cycling process. So the way that I did that was I had taken some media from an established tank and I put it into the new filter to jumpstart that cycling process. Yeah, well, apparently when I took some of that other media out of the other filter, guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. There must have been one snail or two snails or snail eggs. I'm not quite sure, but they transferred over. So I had so many. Like, when I say so many, I'm talking hundreds of snails in the canister filter. My brand new, not so cheap canister filter, I mean, it's about $100. So to me, that's not cheap. That's an expensive filter. So that's why I've been kind of, anal about checking the filters and cleaning the filters and trying to get on top of it. Not that the snails will do any harm from what I'm told, but they're a nuisance. There's just a nuisance. There's too many of them. I don't even have a Nereid snail in here anymore. I still have Ebony in the goldfish tank because, let's face it, the goldfish tank needs it. So there's Ebony, and she does a really good job in this tank, but that's the only snail that I now have, because I have a snail problem in all of my tanks now. I even found some in the goldfish tank, and I have absolutely no idea how it happened. How did they get in the filter in the goldfish tank? Absolutely nothing. Nothing was transferred from this tank. This canister filter for these guys, I let it cycle before I put the fish in it. So I have no idea. So the moral of this story is, number one, do not turn your filter back on until you have cleaned all of the components to it. And never ever take the intake valve off until after you turn the filter back on. And honestly, if you have snails, I'm starting to think that, I don't know, I might just let the snails be because I don't want to kill any more of my fish. So yeah, that was fun. Here's something else I wanted to talk to you about, which apparently I did. Okay, so over here, this is the guppy tank, okay? I have two little, they're small, they're some type of a suckerfish. I don't, and you'll have to forgive me, I really am so bad with these names. Let me see if I can find them for you. Yeah, so one is up there, okay? I have two of them. So, again, paying attention to my tank, I noticed that I only saw one. So sometimes they're so tiny and they sit on the leaves of that plant, and I'm not quite sure. So I said, well, again, even though on Tuesday I had actually I did a cleaning on this tank, same thing, I got a snail problem. So I just very quickly clean the gravel. Now these rocks that are in there that we're looking at, these are live rocks, and I got them at Fins and Skins in St. Pete, Florida, and they're great for setting up a good biological tank. I love them. Plus, I mean, let's face it, they're pretty to look at, right? They're also very heavy. So there's like 10 babies in here, 12 babies in here. I've got 3 adults. I've got Fiona and Flash in here now. So I've got a lot of fish, and these guys aren't shy either. They come right up as soon as they see you. So apparently what I did when I had taken the rocks out, I had moved them to use the gravel siphon and vacuum out the dirt, trying to cut down on the snail population. I had actually, I think that's one of the fish, yeah. You can see him right back there. Must have put a rock on top of him. Not to crush him, because I didn't crush him. It's really weird. But I hadn't seen him since Tuesday, so I don't know if he was like stuck under there. As soon as I moved it, cleaned up, de-snailed the rocks, because yes, there were snails on the rocks. All of a sudden, I see him again. So lesson number 2, be very careful when putting decor back into the tank. I know, I should know this stuff, right? I'm embarrassed, but I'm hoping that maybe it will spare any of accidents like that happening to you guys. So I appreciate you watching, and as soon as you get done laughing at my silly bonehead moves, why don't you hit that subscribe button and then click that little bell, so this way you'll be notified every time I upload. I'm uploading every Tuesday. Now this video is probably going to be several weeks old. As you know, I'm going to be having a total hip replacement done on June 7th, so I want to make sure that I can keep these videos coming out every Tuesday. But I am making several a week just so that I can stay on top of it. I'm sure everything is going to be fine. I'm actually very excited to be pain-free in the very near future. So I apologize about the timing being a little bit off on these videos. But rest assured, I'm hoping by the first week of July, everything should be back to normal again, and I'll be on a regular schedule and actually uploading, on that day. So thank you so much for your patience and your prayers and your support. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm not just saying that. So you guys are the best. So I hope you have a great day. Until next time, take care.